Alright guys, let's talk about SKL or Scale Network on the channel for the first time since this candle right here on the 15th of August. Now when I did the video, I don't think it was so dumpy back then, at least I think it was still up here, but it did manage to lose this Fibonacci level, it did lose this trend line, and lost a lot of supports along the way, unfortunately. Now, we are today pushing up against this trend line and we're trying to break this Fibonacci as well as several weekly resistances. So Scale is up about 33% at the moment, so it's having a really good day today. I did look at Twitter. I didn't see any news really. Probably just, oversold, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. But anyways, right now we are at about 3.5 cents. We're just slightly above this weekly resistance here. And again, we do have to close a candle from Sunday to Monday to make this support. Now, taking a quick look at the volume profile here, you can see that we are right here with Scale. So we are just above the point of control at about 3.323 cents. And we're sitting at 3.6 cents right now. So really, we need to get above about 5.6 cents. That would get us above much of this volume here, as you see. And I do believe after about 5.6 cents, it's going to be really easy to go up. Now, if we look at the Bollinger Bands for some pinch here, we do have kind of a pinch right here at the beginning of August on the weekly time frame. If we zoom in, this line is coming down, and this one slightly comes up, so it does pinch a little bit. I'm not going to say it's like a big pinch. It's a small pinch. If we look at the daily time frame, yeah, it's pretty wide here. Probably got a pinch back on 11th or 12th of August. But this is still very wide. Now it needs to work its way back together, and we need to get some narrowness again, and then it can pop again. Now looking at the stochastic and the RSI here on a weekly time frame, stochastic is a little bit overheated, unfortunately. The RSI is pointed pretty heavily to the upside, but yeah, again, mixed signal really. Now the daily time frame, it actually looks very good, just getting out of the oversold territory on stochastic, and the RSI is pointed pretty heavily to the upside. 4-hour time frame, not so good, overheated on both. Unfortunately, it looks like this blue line is about to start curving down. 1-hour time frame actually is flirting with being overheated here on the RSI. Stochastic is pointed down pretty heavily, I would say. Now the 15-minute time frame, it's kind of flirting with being overbought here on the RSI. But again, it can still go up a ways here. Now it went up to like 98 recently, and it's sitting at 70. So it does have a ways it can go. Stochastic here, the blue line has just crossed this red line and probably about to head up. So the 15-minute time frame and the daily time frame actually look the best. But again, 15-minute time frame is not that reliable. So the longer the time frame, the better. Let's put this on a 4-hour time frame here. Again, we need to break this trend line. That is the main thing, in my opinion. We have to hold it, and then we need to hold the Fibonacci here. So, in my opinion, can it be done? Maybe, because the daily time frame actually looks pretty good. We may break this today, and I hope that, maybe we make our way up to the top of the Fibonacci. We get kind of a reset here, and then we make the next move. Now looking at the MACD here, you can see that it is pointed pretty heavily to the upside with this blue line. We are in a green period here. We have the largest green candles we've ever seen in the weekly time frame. So momentum is to the upside, fortunately, here on the weekly time frame. Now, the daily time frame is looking a little bit better. We do have this light red candle forming. The blue line hasn't crossed the red line just yet, but I think it will soon. So probably going to see a green wave here on the daily here shortly. Now jumping over to the tokenomics of Scale here, it's up about 40% today, by the way, already. Again, like I said, there's no news pumping this from what I know. I looked on the Twitter, I didn't see anything. Now it's the number 319 coin, and there's 7 billion max supply. Most of this is circulating right now. Now the all-time high was $1.22. It's sitting about 97% down at the moment. Now, what I usually say is, if it's sitting about 96, 97% down, probably not going to make its all-time high. But I remember Scale came out kind of at the end of the bull run last time, so it still hasn't seen a true full cycle. So, does it have a chance to get back to $1.22? This is possible. I would say it's about a 60, 65, maybe 70% chance to get back to that high. I know it's really far right now. You see 4 cents, and it's got to do like what, a 30x or something like this, 40x. But it's possible. It's very possible, and that's only because this really hasn't seen a full cycle yet. Jumping over to Bitcoin, you can see it's got a little green candle here today, but really nothing going on. It's Saturday. So basically, it's not making too much of a CME gap at the moment, which is a good thing. However, we do have a little bit of a resistance here at 109.205, but this is a weekly time frame. So as long as we can get that weekly candle, which is this, back over this line, that would show that this is still support. Speaking about CME gaps, we do have this gap still to the upside, so that's actually a good thing. It's about $2,625. Now, we stopped on Friday at 108,775. Now, if we look at this, we're at 108,470 on Binance. So we do have a gap. It's a very tiny gap to the upside still, but again, it's still Saturday. We need to see where this closes on Sunday. Now, before I go a little farther in this video, you can claim some bonuses on my favorite crypto exchanges below. I have partnerships with 10 exchanges. You can also find Moodix here. You can get a free 7-day trial, and you can follow me on X here. Now, jumping over to the Ethereum price, it is actually also not doing too much today. It has retested a couple of levels of support here, but for the most part, it is not doing much. Now, we're sitting at $4,365. Again, if we break 4,300, we have a little bit of an alarm. But again, until we break really down below about $4,000, we're still okay, guys. I still think this is just probably a consolidation here, and probably this is just the next higher low, really. Now, looking at the total market cap here, this does look a little bit more ugly, I would say. But again, it's still making higher lows, just like Ethereum is, really. So there is no real reason to panic. But, we do need to get back above this blue line here at 3.73 trillion. And really, 3.9 would be, perfect. But we're not even close to that, really, at this point. And on a weekend, I just don't think we're going to surge up and retake that, unfortunately. Now, if we take a look at the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, it's also, still moving up. It doesn't look too bad. I would like to reclaim 1.62 trillion. We're not too far off, really. But I just don't think we're going to get that surge throughout this weekend. But you never know. Now, if we look at this on a monthly time frame, we are actually going to get above 1.51 trillion, it looks like. Still, anything can happen, guys. There's still about, a day and a half here left to go. I would like to take 1.71 trillion. That would be even better, because then we would be pretty much making new all-time highs. But again, we are making steps up, and that's a positive thing. Now, one of my favorite charts is the Bitcoin dominance chart here, and since I've started this video, it's actually surged up above this line. But it's not too far above it, so let's not worry too much. We still have a day and a half here, and as long as we close this weekly candle below this line here at 58.12, I think we're okay. I do believe we will work our way down to 56.77 as long as we can close that week right below this line and get a rejection, basically. Now, jumping over to the USDT dominance, which goes pretty much hand in hand with the Bitcoin dominance, it is getting a little bit of a push. So it is not a good thing to see this. It has broken this trend line again and has gotten a pretty strong push through it. Again, this is the daily time frame. Now, if we look at this on a weekly time frame, it's breaking the whole area that it's been in for about, 5 or 6 weeks here. So that is not a good sign either. So let's see what happens. Still not going to panic. I do believe eventually it will work its way down to 3.8% and lower. Now, if we look at the dollar index for this week, usually when you have a weaker dollar, you have a stronger Bitcoin. But it wasn't the case this week, unfortunately. We did see a big pullback with the dollar, but also with Bitcoin. Now, the altcoin season index stands at a 61, which is actually pretty high. That's not too bad. Liquidation heat map in the last 24 hours, 370 million have been wrecked. So it is starting to come down a little bit here. Now, the liquidation heat map like this, you can see there's liquidity on both sides, but it looks like Bitcoin is kind of trending towards this liquidity right now, up to the upside here. But it can go either way, really. Now, the fear and greed is at a 39. We're back in fear. Yesterday, we were neutral. Last week, basically, we were in greed. Last month, in, more darker greed here. Still in greed, though. But anyways, the next update is in about 11.5 hours. And let's see where it goes. Now, one reason for hope, guys, that the bull market is not over is this, 30 indicators here. None of them have signaled it is over yet. So it's still 100% hold. If you go through this list, guys, you can see the progress here. And most of these indicators aren't really, close to being done. Some of them are, but some of them I would just say are complete nonsense. And yeah, most of these indicators are not really close to, their 100% progress. So that's a good thing. The best indicator, in my opinion, though, is this Pi Cycle Top indicator. And as you see here, it's not even close to crossing. And it says that the progress on this is about 57% of the way done. So again, that's still not close in my opinion. Now, next week is a pretty big week economically. We do have some data coming out, but Monday is Labor Day, so that day is free. Now, Tuesday, we do have this global manufacturing PMI. We have some ISM numbers. Wednesday, we have factory orders, JOLTS job openings, one FOMC member speaking. Thursday, we do have a few numbers here like ADP, non-farm employment change. We do have some jobless claims. We also have some PMI and ISM numbers. Again, we have Williams speaking. Again, Atlanta Fed GDP now Q3. Friday, probably the most important day of the week, though. We do have average hourly earnings. We have non-farm payrolls, private non-farm payrolls, and unemployment rate. Looking at FedWatch tools, we do have an 86% chance that we will get a quarter-point cut here in the coming meeting. Now, that meeting is going to take place September 17th, so that's about 18 days away. So whatever happens next week will play a role in this a little bit. Mostly the non-farm payrolls will probably have a big effect if we're talking about all the economic data next week. Now, when we're looking at Moodix, we do have the sentiment as risk on, and it's a dark green risk on, so this is good. But the trend right now is sideways, so it's not really picking whether it's going to stay with the risk on sentiment or if it's going to turn back to risk off. So we did actually have a little bit negative day on Friday. The week last week was negative, and the month was a little bit negative too. But the year is still quite positive. But sentiment still remains risk on, which means crypto assets. Now, according to Trueflation, we have a 2.16% inflation rate. Still not that bad. Slightly higher than yesterday. Now, if we take a look at crypto bubbles, a little bit negative right now, unfortunately. M actually has gone up 53%. I made a video on that a couple of weeks ago. Anyways, if you want to stake your coins, guys, go to Coinondo. You can see here, it's not actually working for me right now. I typed in SKL for Skale, but it's not showing me anything. So, I don't know, maybe you'll have better luck than me. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, activate the bell, share this video with your friends. Like I said, check out those links that I have below, guys, and it really helps me out if you use my links. And guys, I will see you in the next one.